Shadowcast, episode 27. I'm your host, Saro, and with me I have, as always, Mr. Akamari Red. And a special guest, we have HSK Kaishi. What's up, Kaishi? How you doing?
I'm fine. It's been a while.
Has been a while. And Aka, how are you? How's life? How's the week been?
Hello, everyone. Tired a bit. There's a lot of Shadowverse coming. We're practicing a lot, but always ready for some shadow casting.
We haven't been on the podcast for like a week or two. I missed being on live. I miss this, man. All right, so we have a whole lot of Shadowverse to talk about. We haven't been yeah. So what's up, guys? Talk about the week.
It's been fine. I'm actually enjoying playing Shadowverse for the first time in a while.
I've been trying a lot of weird lists. Uh, that's uh, that's my flaw is that I make like 20 decks in a week or something like that, and I don't have time to play them all, so I don't get like a really good decks. But then I asked you guys, and yay, it just gave helps me out, and so I've been practicing wink wink some HSK decks. That's what I've been.
We've had some fun stuff going on.
Yeah, man, ranked was down yesterday, and we actually practiced and tried stuff, and it was great.
I
We
like
don't
that.
do that very
Meanwhile,
often.
I was just playing Jormungand Mirrors in ranked because apparently everyone that plays Jormungand is playing in ranked for some reason. So
I think it's just
that was
flavor
fun.
of the week.
That's the only
That
place
was fun.
people are confident to play it in.
I've played against a couple.
I haven't been seeing too much Jormungand, but you know what I have been seeing a good amount of? Been seeing a good amount of mid-range sword. Have you guys been seeing that?
I've been seeing way more than a good amount of mid-range sword.
I'm seeing it 90% of the games most likely because either I'm playing it or I'm playing against it. So it's very popular.
It's really strong. It does like a whole lot of great things. It grabs the board super well, and then it just doesn't let go of it.
Yeah, if Hallowed Sky is talking in a podcast about Sword, that means that Sword has raised a lot of quality in this expansion because me and Zero were not big fans of the linear style of Sword that happened before. Like the list was very not it wasn't didn't have a lot of options. It was mainly the same game plan, and now you like you have so many choices. I have
Yeah.
the three main cards that are just bonkers: Celia, Chromatic Duel, and Valse. Those give you so much flexibility.
And they also got the airship. The airship is super strong.
Sky Fortress. Yeah,
Sky Fortress.
that card is cool. Yeah, no, I actually hated playing sword with Albert in my deck. It was just, I don't know, it was linear and boring. Yeah.
So it is a very interesting take on Albert. I think like they do similar
Yeah,
things, but when you're behind on board and you want to evolve to trade over something, Celia doesn't feel nearly as bad as Albert did.
she's like the daughter of Florence Spencer and Albert.
Mm-hmm.
I find it kind of interesting. Funny enough, I've been playing Celia a lot more for the light Celia, the good one, rather
Yeah,
than the dark one.
I find myself playing light more than
Mm-hmm.
dark, if you want to call them light and dark.
Yeah, I call it
Uh,
playing it in floral fencer mode.
it's like hope and despair, I think, is actually what it is.
My favorite is Shingeki no Kyojin, just because it's attack mode basically. She's like the attack mode and the defense mode. So, but yeah, I actually only won two games with Arcelia. Funny enough, most of the times because yet another card. My favorite thing to do, and it catches my opponent off guard a lot of times, is to save my chromatic duels for important turns. At the beginning of the expansion, I was just playing it on six because it was free. You're drawing two cards for six, but now holding it for extra for hidden information
Mm-hmm.
is really interesting. Like I have done Council of Card Knights into the Black Queen, and that just blew my opponent out
That's
of his answer to it, which
that's
is
backbreaking.
insane.
I've seen it. Yeah.
That's a really
Mhm.
resilient board.
Or even both queens, and just you get a really strong board that's resilient to a lot of the most popular classes. They have Lancer Tempest, they have the Light Chant too, and Giant Chimera. I think I blocked the Giant Chimera turn once, but I'm not sure, obviously, because I
There's a
didn't
lot
have it.
of there's not many board clears in rotation right now, so the ones you can block are super impactful.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's like Frenzy Drake. There's Nova Flare, Staff of
uh,
Tornadoes, Staff of
7 mana
Whirlwinds,
John.
Staff of Whirlwinds, Light Chant. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so bad at names. I'm sorry.
John Beacon of
I used
Hope,
to
I
be good.
think is her name.
Beacon of Hope
Wait,
sounds right.
yeah.
But yeah, and not even all of those are played. Like I don't. I think I've only had one Nova Flare played on me all expansion so far. And maybe that's just like bias because I haven't seen it. Maybe a lot of people are playing it. I don't know.
And you can feel for some reason, Cygames doesn't print a lot of AoE choices. You can see the desperate need for it. I was very surprised when I was hit with an explosion in ranked. And if people are playing explosion, that is quite desperate, in my opinion. That just means where are the revelations? Where are the Bahamut's, right?
I
Because
was I was talking about
every
explosion the other day. Why don't we just run explosion in every list to counter
Y-
sword?
You're just gonna see like the rune lists. They're gonna go Oz Explosion.
yes,
That's the play.
kill their own Oz.
That's
But
somehow
yeah,
better than Mutable.
that to me that's just a big shout out, a big shout of please give me AoE choices, right? Options. I'm not saying Revelation was obviously very impactful, but after that we get that which we shall not name in podcasts. I don't know if you know what that is, Kishi, but there's a card we cannot name on the podcast.
Uh,
It
well, I'm
starts
not a.
with Reach and ends with Demon. So
Ah, okay. That card is so bad compared to what Revelation was.
are
I wish.
are there any pick cards, like any of the choose cards? Do any of them have a way to clear a board? Of all the ones that got released for all the classes,
only single target
only a single
clear.
target.
Yes, and
Roy
single
and
target stuff.
Vols. Roy and Vols.
That's interesting. You'd think there'd be
It's all the
like
other ones.
a card kind of like that when it enters the battlefield, it can like AoE some things, do 3 damage or 4 damage for like 5 mana or 6 mana, 7 mana.
Its other effect would have to be really strong, otherwise it would only be used for that.
Well, Jean sees play, and she's just a 2/3 that enhances at 7. She's pretty good.
She's kind of like
I'm
that.
not saying
She's a good
that's
choice.
bad though, but
Hmm.
like if you design a choose card and one of the options is clear the enemy board, and the other option is something dinky like summon 2/1/1s, like you're gonna choose clear the enemy board all every time, and you're never gonna use it for the other thing.
What
So it
if
becomes a linear card when the point of the mechanic is to create duality
what if it
and
clears both
interesting
players'
mechanics.
boards,
Well, then that's just explosion.
but cheaper explosion? I don't know.
I
Oh
mean,
damn.
what does a board clear enhance for? Explosion costs 7. Jean costs 7.
But you touch on a good point. The fact that the choice cards are very balanced. I don't see a single card being too one-sided on
Yeah,
light mode or dark mode. To me, that was what I was most afraid of when I saw the choice. I almost immediately got hyped, obviously, because flexibility and choices. But you can fall on the trap of thinking it is a choice when it isn't. Surprisingly enough, I thought Vania would only be for the dark side, and I actually have been playing a lot of the Blood Queen Vania rather than the darker one. So
Yeah, it
the
surprised me
one with
how often I
drain.
played
Yeah.
her as Kind Queen Vania.
yeah,
If you have an evolve for it, it's just such a huge heal coming out of like an aggressive deck or like a mid-rangey deck. It's drain for 5. It's a lot.
And even in an aggressive deck, if you have an evolve, you play it and get the Bane Bat, and you evolve it into the ward, and you can go face
Hmm.
for lethal and stuff. I've done that once. That was fun.
also with Roy, we all thought Roy would be like an
Just another
extra
ramp
Oracle,
card.
but I have played Roy a lot, and most of the times it was the Dark Blade, which
I take
surprised
I
me. Yeah,
take Dragon Strife Blade almost every single time.
yeah.
Uh, the Dragon Life Blade, the one that ramps, feels so bad. It doesn't even draw a card like Oracle does in Overflow. Oh man, it feels awful.
I take Dragon Lightblade a lot, but I've been finding I'm taking Dragon Stripe more often lately.
I think that's just
It's the style, yeah. It's the style that
yeah,
you want to play, or
Hmm.
where you want to be in,
with the more tempo
which
oriented
is
deck.
exactly what I was hoping for. That the choice cards could be both played as both modes. So props on that. The only exception I would have to say, but it's not as popular, is Lindworm. To me, I've never seen the light for Lindworm because you're investing so much play points into that you usually want to finish the game. I'm usually losing to it, or I just don't see it. So
Actually, the only time I've seen Lindworm work and win a game is when you play it first with the light version and then follow it up with two dark versions. Because there's a lot of tutoring in that deck to draw them. So drawing all three is very feasible.
Usually the first one is ending the game if you can get to it, but not
I've
always.
seen
yeah,
a lot of the time where you spend all your resources surviving to 10 mana. You play the first one to draw yourself cards and heal, and it's the thing they have to deal with if they can't kill you. And then the next two kill you. That is assuming you drew all three of them.
Hmm.
There are tutors for them, but it's not the most consistent thing in the universe.
If you play Dragon's Foresight, and there are actually ways you can build your deck to always pull Lindworm, which is pretty cool. So, guys, if you want to play your Dawnbreak Night Edge cards, we have the Shadowverse open. That's going to be this weekend.
hype. It's I'm so glad to be back. It's my comfortable zone. I just want to be competing. I just want to
Mhm.
be there every single week. Fail, 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 and once you don't fail, just make it all the way.
Mhm.
So that's what I live, and breathe for. I was not playing a lot of Shadowverse, but coming this weekend, it's the motor the cogs are spinning, and I'm just full engaged again.
I've been practicing a lot for the Shadowverse Open. The last season ended up being kind of disappointing for me, and I want to see if I can do better because I think I can do well in a Shadowverse Open. I want to try to get into that competing environment.
Yeah, same. I just feel like uh I don't know. I feel like I just play poorly. Maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. It's disappointing for me too. I always just lose like in 3 rounds or something.
Last season, the first 2 weeks, I team killed in like the second or third round, and then my internet dropped the round after immediately. I was like, ah.
My
Wasn't that
first 2 weeks,
pancake you team killed?
Mm-hmm.
I lost my first rounds. The second week I got eliminated immediately. But yeah, there were some mistakes on last season, and hopefully we don't make them again. But I'm excited to see. I'm always excited to see SEO. I'm so glad they're doing it. But now more than ever, this is where it starts counting because
Mm-hmm.
we all look at that $1 million at the end of the year, and this SEO is the first golden ticket. I don't know if you know that reference, but Charlie,
And the
it's
chocolate
Charlie
Charlie and the
Brown.
factory.
Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, Chocolate Factory. Gold tickets were used to award a visit to it to some kids, and we're basically fighting for gold tickets to the World Grand Prix for the $1 million prize. So that's how I see it.
I'd be
Starts
content
now.
just getting the expenses paid trip to Japan. The $1 million if you win is just the cherry on top. I
Bear
mean,
in mind, you're already getting money. Not only the trip, but if you're last place, you're already making a cut of the winnings. So
yeah. Granted, if I were good enough to get there, I'm sure I'd go into it with a much different attitude, like I'm here to win.
Mm-hmm.
I got this far. Why stop now?
yeah.
So I'm sure my attitude would change from cherry on top to the reason I'm there once
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. I highly doubt I'll go though. That's
Not with that attitude.
not with
Actually,
that attitude.
I've just correction. It's a gold ticket to LA actually, because that's the first stage. You get the Contenders Cup slot, and it's gonna be played in LA, I believe, which would be my first ever trip to North America, and I'd be very excited to meet you all there. And yeah, we're just playing for the gold ticket too, because it's just crazy. Like this year, Shadowverse is the biggest it ever was. There's like we were all thinking, oh, we wish there was a LAN event. Well, here, have five. Like it's just like Side games we want one. They're like, here, have 5. Just have fun. Now you have 5 LAN events. Just go to them, and it's insane. And they're all like spread across the world. We have one in Australia, I believe, one in Montreal, which is in Canada, right? That is Canada. And then we have Tours France for the European, and then obviously the Contenders Cup in LA, and the World Grand Prix in Japan at the end of the year. So
I'm looking forward to DreamHack Montreal. That one's not going to be too far away from me. I think I'm going to be able to go to that one.
I wish any of those were close enough for me to go. I'm like in the middle of everything but close to nothing.
I mean, if you get a golden ticket, you're
Mm.
going to LA because they're
Mhm.
paying you the trip.
I mean, yeah, I'll try, but
Hopefully, I'm not sure about this, but hopefully it's in the same time, uh, same time frame for both EU and NA, so we could actually watch as spectators the NA side and play as the EU side and just hang out. It's reasonable to think that because it would be expensive to do 2 events, so maybe there's just pack it in a single event.
Some people might be wondering about Shadowverse Open this weekend and what they might be seeing this weekend. So, what do you think would be some of the more popular decks that people are going to be playing this weekend?
lot of sword. Old reliable.
Yeah, reliable.
I think if sword's not in your lineup, you're trolling.
That those words have been said before. I remember season A was he and I, we were like, if you're not playing blood, you're a monkey. That was on the Wonderlands expansion. If you're not the neutral blood, even the bad blood. So I do have to agree that I won't say you're a monkey if you're not playing sword, but if you're not playing sword, that probably tells me that you don't have a good enough collection.
I
Or
think you need to have
the only excuse I think for not playing sword is being super confident in a lineup that beats it consistently.
you need to have
Uh,
a really seriously well built lineup to have a reason to not play sword. I think.
yeah, and it's not even that I think sword is like OP. It's just like reliable. It's consistent.
Yes.
Deck is very strong on the play, and it's very strong on the draw too. And it can punish mistakes, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, I
I've
think
actually
it's looking like the old or it kind of plays similarly. I feel to what mid-range Shadow has in the past, and the deck is about incrementally finding small advantages here and there, and it builds up over time and it snowballs.
And then you get airshipped.
that's
Yeah.
that is my type of Shadowverse. That is my favorite type of Shadowverse. I'm a small incremental advantage gaining player, I guess. I was very keen on playing sword on every event that I played. I played this season. I played on Panda Cup. I was just queuing my sword deck. It was a format where if you win, you keep your deck. You keep playing that deck, and I all my wins were sword basically. So I made it really far into it, and it's just like you mentioned. It feels to me like Shadow, and I love playing Shadow and Shadowcraft, and just Swordcraft just it keeps building resilient boards, and your opponent has to trade 1 or 2 cards for your single card, and slowly and steadily you're gaining card advantage and board presence. You're chipping their life down, and you have your finishers with the Celia or Skyfortress. That's another amazing thing about Celia is that she always keeps the pressure on. Your opponent always has to remove all your bodies. Even that hedgehog sometimes could be like what you need to finish the game.
Do you
She's not like Albert, so
do you ever use your Celia to bounce things back to your hand so you can replay them just for the value, like your Valses and stuff like that?
no,
I've
never
never
done
done
that.
that. No,
Never done that? You don't get
Too
to do that
expensive.
often, but that's a really cool play when you get to do that.
I've never found an opportunity to make that play worth. Um,
I'm
okay,
usually
speaking of sword, there's a lot of community outcry about how strong sword is based off first impressions, which is probably jumping the gun a bit. But do you think if something were to get nerfed in sword, it'd be as simple as cutting some damage off Sky Fortress, or did they do something more obscure? Like,
I think the natural hit from a design standpoint is just chromatic because you can easily check how the win rate is impacted by that card on turn 1.
Hmm.
I
or
agree.
when it. Yeah, so I think that if you're gonna change something, it's chromatic duel. I think the easy way to change it is the enhanced six. Probably had a little bit more cost to that because it's too flexible. It's you would have to be a lunatic not to play that card as a 3 off in every sword deck. Like every even aggro sword. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to give your board resilience for free,
It,
basically for a 4 play points.
Yeah. What do you think about cutting bladed hedgehog's HP to 2?
I don't want to see a hedgehog nerf. I love that card too much.
Yeah, I think that card isn't the problem, honestly. Man.
I
Hedgehog
don't
is
think it's a
definitely
problem,
strong,
but
but
it's definitely a strong card that contributes to its overall power. And I don't think there's any single card in Sword that's like overwhelming by itself, aside from maybe Chromatic Duel.
I think
Yeah,
airship, like when if you're not prepared for an airship, that card comes down, you're like, wow, that's pretty overwhelming.
and some classes just don't have an easy way to deal with it. I was thinking, I was playing some against Portal sometimes, and you know how they remove the board is by attacking your stuff. So I just Sky Fortress my Arthur and attack face, and they slam their artifacts into my Arthur, and give me a lot of cards.
That
So
thing's a
they're not
5/10.
actually gaining value. Yeah, so they're actually not gaining value when they usually do.
That
So
thing is really hard
it's
to kill.
for some classes, it's really hard to deal with. I'm
I played
thinking
against
Aven
a
as
Sky
well.
Fortress
Like
Arthur, man.
Aven's answer is either a Moriai, like perfectly timed, or a Serenian that you
Hmm.
still
That's
need to
Bane.
evolve, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're still giving a card to your. So people are actually thinking twice about what they should trade now, if they should kill the Arthur or not, because it's not usually valuable to kill the Arthur. It doesn't have a lot of attack and has a lot of health, but that Sky Fortress is just again, it's one of those cards that makes previous cards really strong, and I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of
Yeah.
instead of printing broken cards, just make the other cards
Hmm.
better because
Printing good support for existing cards.
if Arthur wasn't the card, Skyfortress wouldn't be that impactful. I feel it's just when
Well,
you land that Arthur and the Skyfortress, it's when it gets really annoying.
without Arthur, you still have like Council and uh, a lot of board flood in Sword in general. I
Hmm.
think it's reasonable to say that you could without Arthur you could probably reasonably guarantee yourself something on board on turn 8.
Yeah, but the big difference is Council of Card Knights dies to John and Conflagration, which Arthur doesn't. So in terms of 7 play points, direct direct battle, I guess. There's no answer to efficient answer to an Arthur into a Sky Fortress. That's why I asked.
Ar-
Sky Fortress definitely makes me want to play 3 Arthurs, which before I didn't even want to play Arthur. So
Arthur is really strong, and I kind of that's a kind of card that I kind of hope doesn't get nerfed. But one thing is like you can tell just by playing Forest. The moment that card got printed, the Forest matchup went from being favored for Forest to like this is incredibly hard for me to win now.
yeah, because Cassiopeia is just it's just nothing
Hmm.
Can't
against them.
cut it.
It doesn't do enough to clear the board. It just gives you Arthur gives you so many stats, and he also thins your deck and makes you draw better cards down the line.
You know what?
I mean, oftentimes I use my Arthur and then wish I had Kahulans later. So
Yeah, you'd play like 6 Kahul in your deck if you could.
the card is really good.
I'm on the other side. I like to Michael bullets from Arthur to kill their big fatty followers that have been evolved or something like that. Because playing Cahulian for 6, you're not building a lot of pressure, all more on the defensive side.
Hmm.
So I'm not a big fan of enhancing my Cahulian,
I
but because the matchups that I'm facing are not Dragon. When Dragon was a thing, it would be nice to Cahulian the Bahamut and
Yeah.
Israel, but now it's like it's a very board flood meta. I feel like Aven is flooding, Portal is board flooding, Sword is board flooding. So your coolants are not as impactful. I feel.
and we have this board flood kind of thing going on because there really aren't too many ways to stop it. So it's running rampant.
I don't know if you noticed Twitch chat and my colleagues, I guess, but Daria was a big thing in the previous expansion, and we're basically hitting that same note. People, there's still no answers to whiteboards, so just keep playing whiteboards.
Yeah, it's the only decent AoE removal is like Conflag, and it's like 7 mana in one
And it's
class.
class specific. There's
Even
also
it didn't
White
cut it
Sun.
against Daria. It probably wouldn't cut it now with all the 5 health Serenian Hinds and Bejeweled Tortoises
Tea
and Haven.
times too.
Tea time, yeah.
And what's interesting is that even without printing the AoE, people are not getting away. And what I find really curious is that I don't see Shadow. You would think that a meta where board wipes are not as prevalent, Shadow would be king, but we're not
Well,
seeing a lot of Shadow.
the
What do you
thing
get? What do you think about that?
the thing is, Shadow lost Lurching Corpse and Necro Assassin, and they don't. The closest thing they have is Troth's Curse, and that's not particularly great.
Yeah, the loss of some like hard removal is kind of painful. I tried to throw together a just a list based on some ideas I had. I replaced Ektar with like Hinterland Ghoul and was like maybe my win condition can be this PTP style. And I threw in Nyx, the 3 mana neutral 3/2,
Hmm.
give untargeted ability to an allied follower, and I'm like maybe I can play this with the Hinterland Ghoul.
Hmm.
I don't I haven't tested it yet. Maybe it's bad. It sounds pretty bad when I'm talking about it, but
I saw somebody play Hinterland Ghoul and kept reanimating the Hinterland Ghoul, and I thought that was cool.
after 30
Yeah,
shadows.
Hmm.
The problem with that deck is that you have to maintain 30 shadows,
Well, once
and that's like
you play it like you would play PTP, like you just don't spend your shadows.
yeah. It just means I can't run
Ektar.
Ektar. I have
and
Aisha's in here, but it's a
there's a
finisher.
problem with that deck specifically is that your healing options. So you want to play a PTP style like Forest, you need healing options. You need to delay the game. 20 health is like nothing in a
Hmm.
card game. Like 20 health just goes down in 2 turns. Like if your opponent sticks the board, it's like half of your health is just gone. So you need healing options, and the only good healing would be Fickle Resurrector, and that is
And
very
Cyrus.
taxing on. Yeah, that is very taxing on evil points and your necromancy.
Yeah.
Two things you don't want to be doing on a PTP deck.
I have series in here too.
Yeah, you have Cyrus too to heal you.
And series is like good against sword, but that's about it.
Yes, but because it just makes you think of how much of an impact Lurching Corpse was. More than actually Necro Assassin, to me, it's just the Lurching Corpse was such a cheap way to gain play points on your opponent. They played a 5 play point, you just played a 2 play point, and you're just going with it, and easily you combo it incredibly well with Necro Assassin. That was just and I was talking to Auto Aim like very early on the expansion, and I was like, you should probably be playing 3 Soul Squashers, and he just smirked at me, laughed, and said, "What do you think I'm doing?" Because you don't have that Necro Assassin, right? You don't have the way to recover. Because the problem with Shadow is that the 4-5-6 4-5 I guess the 4-5 is very weak. There's not a lot of good stats. So when your opponent evolves a 5 drop, you don't have a way to trade into it and survive. Just everything
Yeah.
dies against it. So you needed that Necro Assassin. You needed that Soul Squasher. So it's maybe 3 Soul Squashers is the way to go. But again, like that Lurching Corpse it's missed. It's gonna be missed.
When I
Yeah.
first
And
started
maybe
playing,
maybe you do run Troth's Curse, because kill something.
it's
Another
when you have
Go ahead.
Order of the Bones. Order of the Bones makes Troth's Curse a little bit better. I think that's a really strong card that got printed for Shadow.
And another hidden fact about Lurching Corpse is that it made Catacombs so much better because your opponent doesn't want to kill that Lurching Corpse. It also
Hmm.
made Skull Ring also incredible because Skull Ring would pop later on the game. I don't even mind playing a Skull Ring like on 5 or something just to get a Lurching Corpse. Late game is also very valuable.
Hmm.
It's an Nectar target if your opponent doesn't want to kill it. So it's there's a lot of things going for Lurching Corpse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a Demon Eater target.
I thought that card was like when I first started playing Shadowverse. I just read that card and I just assumed this was in the basic set. And now that it's gone, it's like it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's
It's
weird.
like the Shadow's identity in a sense for while was sticky, annoying minions to deal with. I remember Tentative Knight that also rotated, but like to me that style of Shadow was just insane. Like the value machine of I'm killing my stuff and I'm still ahead on. That's fun to me.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun playstyle that was needed, I think, through the Daria meta last expansion.
Yeah, thank God Dario rotated because Necro Assassin Lurch Corpse is like the could have done efficiently against that.
So now that Bahamut's gone, that's a big one. One deck that I've noticed that's been getting a little bit better is Ginger, actually. Have you guys noticed that one seen him a little bit more play lately?
Yeah, by me.
Yes. Uh, I've been playing a lot against Jordan, and I have to expect it to be Ginger,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't see Ginger a lot. But I lost to Ginger in our scrimmages, and it just feels very hard to deal with. If they land the Ginger, no deck can deal with it.
Yeah,
There's
it's
not a single
super
card that
backbreaking. The
like this.
closest, I'm sorry.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
The closest I got to someone dealing with a full Ginger board, I was playing against Portal, and I played Ginger, Zeus, two Israfils, and something else. It was like a Hector. Um, he played a 7 damage Magna Legacy on me. That was the closest anyone's come to dealing with a full Ginger board.
But there was still the Israfils though. So.
Yeah, the Israfil survived with 1 HP. My Zeus had like 6 health because I traded with it. But
You were
yeah,
you were one ancient artifact away from losing
I
it
was
all.
1 damage from losing that game.
Wow.
One more artifact kill, and I would have lost.
That's a cool
But
card. Now that Bahamut's gone, we've been seeing Magna Legacy pop up a little bit more.
Yeah, you have more ways to reliably tutor artifacts early, so you can kill them faster. You don't have to rely on Deus Ex so much. The Lamirium, what is that card?
Diablo team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
think
one.
that sounds right.
That card is insane. I thought that card was very strong from the start because there's no two play point tutor, but like playing Diablo team on three with an analyzing artifact. Oh my god, you just play three
Yeah.
followers,
My favorite
two
portal
followers
curve
for
is
two.
the turn one
Accelerate. Oh,
meta
not.
production
Mhm.
into Majesty Lion, and then you have the turn 3 Diaboline. What is
Yeah,
Miriam? The turn
Diablo
3
team.
Miriam,
Yeah,
yeah, to
Diablo
pull
team.
the ancient. Then turn 4, you can like Hamelin, bioproduction, and play 2 more artifacts. It's just overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, I've lost to that a lot. It just gives you that extra tempo option in a deck that has Saphira and Deus Ex, where they're usually very slow to build up, but all of a sudden they're just smashing your face. Like Diablo team, you just play two Baphomets on turn three. How does that feel like? It's just very overwhelming
Turns out
sometimes.
having 5-piece boards on turn 4 is really strong. Uh, makes me. I've actually like considered running Confront Adversity in my sword list just for the portal matchup.
I don't think Confront Adversity is that bad because it's also pretty good in the sword matchup too. And
Yeah, it's
against
definitely
forests,
not
it does work.
terrible.
Card's not as bad
Uh,
as it looks.
Speaking of board clears, I want to go back to Ginger for a second. The addition of Abomination Awakened in this deck, I love.
Hmm.
It's so much fun.
Abomination Awakened is like one of my favorite cards. So that the fact that it gets like played now, I'm so happy about that.
I was playing versus one of my friends for fun the other day, and he like 1v1 me, and I played Abomination on 3 and I evolved it on 4 with along with another one, and I just smacked him in the face 3 times and won the game. And it was
We saw Season A lost to an Abomination
yeah, it's
evolved.
an aggro counter.
Season one, yeah.
Hmm.
Aggro decks
Meow.
can't deal with it.
Season two, meow. Yeah,
That was
meow
cool.
won with
Just smacked him.
Abomination. He was playing Aggro Sword, and Aggro Sword just didn't have a way to deal with that 6/6. So,
Yeah, can't kill it.
and what's interesting is that it puts your opponent in this situation of, is he gonna have 9 cards? Can I ignore it? Is my board just gonna get destroyed, and I'm still getting smashed for
Yeah.
6?
If I remember that game correctly, it was like Meow's strategy or his game plan was just I'm gonna have this 6/6 on turn 4, and I'm gonna smack him in the face, and I'm gonna keep smacking him in the face, and he has to deal with it or he's going to die. But I also feel like Suzumi's deck could have drawn him out of that situation and just won the game before the abomination. So
But
maybe a little unlucky.
that was not the case though.
I don't remember exactly what happened. I don't remember like I know that Suzumi lost, but I don't remember if it was like he drew poorly or if the abomination just actually outraged Sword.
I just remember Abomination dealing like 18 damage that game. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
Have we
pretty
talked
crazy.
about Summit Haven yet? Much?
No, we didn't.
We haven't
No.
yet. All right, guys. So Summit Haven is definitely one. I'm sure you guys have been seeing that one. Just Haven in general. Cudgel is still doing as Cudgel does,
Yeah.
and I think Cudgel's just gonna keep doing as Cudgel does.
Do you think they'd nerf a basic card?
I don't know.
Like
Um,
Cudgel's absurd.
Zero knows my opinion. Um, I have lost so many tournament games to Priest of the Cudgel. The most recent one that I was on SVO was lost to a Priest of the Cudgel top deck that enabled two tortures while killing my board. So I'm always like, can we please rotate this card? Can we please limit it? Just limit Priest of the Cudgel, please. Because there's someone somewhere in Shadowverse. Someone has to have the data of how many games Avon wins because they have Priest of the Cudgel. Someone has to have that. Come
Yeah.
on.
Cudgel on 4
Card
is
is
actually
absurdly strong.
absurd. And
Turns
if,
out Banish is a really strong mechanic.
and if you don't have Cudgel on 4, you have Tea Time. And if you don't have Tea Time, you have Aether to pull your Cudgel. And if you don't have Aether to pull your Cudgel, you have Judge of Retribution. Like, you have so
Right,
many
Aether doesn't
different
pull
ways to
Cudgel, it
cudgel
pulls
people.
Hind.
It
And
depends
it's
on how
always
you
the
have it
3
built, but
health,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, maybe I can dodge that, but nope. Everything, every single follower. I've never been able to like play around it. Every
3
single
HP is
follower that trades before is always 3 or less. Always 3 or less. Come on, not like
3
this.
defense is really hard to play around.
And then you have
Yeah.
those games where you're playing as Haven, and both of them have 4 defense, and you're just sad.
Yeah, like come on.
yeah. And like this never happens to me. Come on. And trust me, I've had some fun experiences because I'm a big fan of Jormungand. I got 2 Nects and 2 Jormungands banished, and that was not a fun night. I will quote my friend on that one. He told me, "Can we boop Avon, please, and delete it from the game?"
It's cool though that there's something to keep in check. Like banish is a good way to keep problematic like last words in check. So
What it's frustrating to me, it's that it's those 2 classes. Like those are my 2 most hated classes. Because I like to be a Johnny player on my breaks. I want to make crazy decks, and they just have the banishes. I'm like, come on, dude, just let me have fun.
Just
I
let
hate
me have fun.
Portal and Avon are like just I don't want to play against that.
Yeah, okay, so aside from Cudgel, what do you think about Heavenly Knight right now? I
I
love this card.
I
It's so much fun.
I love 7 mana Genesis Dragon with Ward.
I also love 7 mana Genesis Dragons with Ward. Like it feels pretty bad to get hit by one sometimes, but I don't know. Card is really fun to use. It has a really satisfying like attack animation and sound. It has
Yeah.
really cool voice lines.
For great justice.
It's
I'm
a
gonna
really
drop
cool
a bomb.
card.
I'm gonna drop a bomb right now to you both. What if I tell you I've 0 Haven games this season?
0 Haven games.
0
Well, that's.
Haven games.
I hope you're gonna practice before SVO.
I'm just gonna be. I just say it's an easy deck. Takes no skill. Ooh.
Takes no skill.
Coming out with some bold
Shots.
claims, never even played the deck.
I always get like super. Like when I'm playing Haven, the early game is super like tricky to me in my head sometimes when I'm trying to count like, do I play Carapace this turn? Do I play Snow White this turn? Do I play Bejeweled Priestess this turn? Do I play Mariah and Comium this turn?
You have a lot of
Like-
decisions in the early game right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually. And also timing Amulet so you can play Tempo Serenian Hinds if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's also pretty strong. I think the deck is fun, honestly.
Someone in World Grand Prix asked me, well, what was like playing that Haven deck? And I told him it's like building a puzzle because you're counting all the countdowns, so everything pops at the same time. This deck just makes that a little bit easier, but it's still hard to not mess up and play your amulets before your Serenian. You actually have to keep two at least for turn 5. That's when you want to explode.
I
That deck
always
was super cool.
I always think it's pretty funny when you have like a full board and it's just all amulets.
Yeah, it feels dirt, man.
And I've been on the other side. I've been playing a lot against Avon. My only problem is when they have 3 Heavenly Knights,
Yeah.
because 2 is easily not a problem, because they don't find a lot of ways to deal damage to me. Again, I've been playing a lot of swords, so my Volses are always the Holy Bomb, because I'm expecting an Heavenly Knight late on the game.
hmm
When I take 14 damage, or maybe it's even only 3 damage, I don't mind that. I just play my 5 play point. I gain play points on them and keep ahead on the game. Other than that, it's just when they have the 3, that's really annoying. Interesting to me is that they're not playing Heavenly Aegis. Um, I've learned the very valuable lesson, and I'm telling you all right now. Uh, had I played one Aegis on the World Grand Prix, I might have been the world champion. Just because that, even playing not as good as because I didn't play that as good as I could have played, but just having that one Aegis would probably carry me on to win that. Because to me, it feels weird that you have this option in Haven in this class, and you have a tempo deck that you don't play just a move wall when you're just
Yeah.
ahead on the game every single turn, and you
I
play
think
Heavenly
it's
Knight, and they have to deal with it, and then you could play another Heavenly Knight or neither, they have to deal with it, and then they have no or something, and you just slam your Aegis.
I think people are cutting it to play more tempo in the low end, but I think it's a mistake. I think you should definitely play
Just
one.
yeah,
I
just a
play
one
one,
off.
and I think
It's
because
very
we have you have reliable tutors with Aether, so it's not
Yeah,
like
especially with that. Yeah.
with Aether you could play like I remember back in Tempest of the Gods, I just straight up played 3 Aegises in my Haven. And now you can play 4 Aegises in your Haven and only put 1 in your deck.
Mhm.
but you can't have two on the board, so
No, you can't
it
have
feels
2 on the
bad.
board.
But
Having
you don't
multiple
need
Aegises on the
to
board feels so
Yeah,
good.
no,
because
you don't.
you don't need to because your Heavenly Knights have put him below 10 or yeah, or 10 or below. So your Heavenly Aegis just to me just feels natural. It's kind of like when we played when the mid-range forest or temple forest at the end of the last expansion, it was rising up. Unfortunately, SVU had finished and no one was picking that up. I was having a lot of success with it. When you play this aggressive version of forest and then you just make it a little bit slower, more mid-rangey, cards like Fida, cards like Sibel, and then just add an Arya and a wolf, an elephant to an aggressive deck. You are ahead on the board every single turn, and then you play the wolf, and they're like, they conceded. I won like 5 games because I played wolf. They're like, oh, okay, I can't. I was on the defense. I was on the fences every single turn of the game, so I just can't deal with your elephant right now. And I've won games where I played Aria 9, got my hand stacked, even though it was empty, and then elephant. And fortunately, it wasn't picked up, but I think that was a very strong game plan. That's why I would probably play an Aegis too.
Yeah,
So, guys, are you ready? I believe it started today for Grand Prix mode.
Yes, I want my Venus
yeah.
coming for you, baby.
I actually forgot to finish playing it last time.
You just straight up
I
forgot.
played, I played the first round and got to Group A, and then I played like one game in Group A. Then had to go do something, so I got up and like I didn't play again the rest of the day, and I forgot. I forgot to like log into Shadowverse and like play the game for like a week,
Baka.
so I don't have like
I
the
only
Deus
got a
Ex
win. I
involvement.
only got one win, but I was happy because I top decked that win, and I got my Deus Ex.
I,
So
I
Because all I
pl-
had to do was win one game in the final
oh,
stage.
on the yeah final stage.
Final stage was you got to play up to 5 games. The moment you lost the game, you were just out. I went
Okay.
I went in, I played Forest, I queued into mid range shadow game 1 and I just got smacked.
Really? Yeah, I was in stage 2 and just forgot. Go me.
I played Shadow throughout the entire stage. I managed to qualify with different decks. It's just that Shadow was my first go-to. I
Yeah,
won.
Shadow was my qualification deck.
I beat Tilting at the Windmills on the final stage, and that was tense because he had a tilting for a lot of turns, and I was anything away from dying. I dodged like every card he had, so I was happy, and I top decked my Aisha.
Tilting
So
with nerfed Bahamut was actually just so annoying.
That was a
so
ridiculous
I
deck.
was happy I got that win, and now I'm ready for more. And if I was someone that was new to the Grand Prix mode, what would I need to play to win 4 out of 5 games? What do you guys
I
feel?
think if you want to play
I would
in
think
that kind of setting right now, you should definitely play A, something you're very comfortable on, something you play a lot of, or B, um, but one play something you're very comfortable on and play a lot of already, and that you know matchups for, and that you can just play in the Grand Prix as if it were ladder or whatever, uh, or play sword,
I think Sword is a very good pick. I think Haven's also a pretty solid pick.
yeah, sword or Haven. And if you play a lot of those and you're comfortable on them, then good for you. You win. Have fun with your Venius loops.
If not, just play whatever you have fun with. That's it's a game first and foremost, so that's the point of it. Just make sure you're having fun.
Yeah. How do
Yeah,
you
because
guys
you
feel
also
about?
have
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
you
I was
also have to have ease of mind. If you're not playing any something that's comfortable, you're just gonna get anxious because you feel the pressure. You need to win 4 out of 5 games, and I do know that a lot of people don't play Take Two because of that. Because they just feel they feel sweaty, they feel nervous, they can't enjoy the game, and just play something you like and just ignore it. Forget the fact that you're playing Grand Prix. Just think it's ladder and just play it.
people who actually play Take Two would like crucify me. I play like the most inefficient Take Two ever. I draft a deck. Like I try really hard and draft the best deck possible. Play until I lose a game and then quit the run and start over.
I hate like you actually. I hate people that just throw away money or tickets in general. I just say because I work really hard for those entries, just throw them away. Like I see people draft and like I think it's like Jay Z or Auto Aim do that a lot. They like draft something. I don't like this. Just quit. I'm like, come on, no, don't throw away tickets. Not
It,
like
Well, the way
this.
I see it is that 5 games is a lot. And that's like half an hour of time to commit to just playing the deck. And if you don't like it, you don't think the deck looks fun to play, or obviously I don't quit the run every single time I lose a game. But if I lose a game and it was like, man,
I wish I
this
didn't
deck
draw the
feels
third test
bad.
of strength.
Yeah, like man, this deck feels really bad. Maybe I won that first game on luck, or uh, I'd been feeling it before the draft. Like I lost the first game, and man, yeah, that's what I thought. This deck is pretty bad. Then I'll quit out and start over. But I don't want to shoehorn myself into playing 30 minutes of a terrible deck
if I
unless
have
it is a
uh,
if I
terrible
have a
deck I
deck that
built.
like really doesn't feel good, then I'll quit. But otherwise, I'll usually play out my games. Like there've only been a handful of drafts that I've like been like I can't do this anymore.
I always play them, regardless of being bad or good. I just play them.
You haven't had that one deck where you're just like, man, I wish I didn't draw
I
this card again.
No, I took it as a challenge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When I get bad decks, I'm like, now it's my player skill, my take two knowledge that's gonna carry me and get like 3 or 4 wins.
I keep
And
telling myself I'm gonna hunker down and grind for that Selector Supreme at some point, but I never do it. I'm so bad at Take Two. I
See,
hate playing it.
you see, Aka, the difference between me and you is I have my 50 something tickets saved up, so I don't feel bad when I do that.
yeah, I have probably
I have
18 or
three.
19 maybe because again, not enough time. I used to stream actually. The first time I started playing Shadowverse, I was streaming more than I do now, and I was streaming Take Two. That was my main thing, and I was having a lot of fun. I had a challenge, a daily streak challenge. So I would go in Shadowverse, get my daily rewards, get my quest rewards, and then I'll just use that goal to streak as many arena chains as possible, which is not easy to do. But my record was like 11. I posted it on Reddit. I had like 3 5 that morning, and someone just said just like you got three 5-0s in the same day, dude. I can't do that. I'm like, yay! So happy with that. So
5-0s are hard, dude. People say they're easy and post them all the time, but
Some people are they're really solid
I've
at
gotten
Take
like
Two.
2. Yeah.
I have
Drafting in a card game is like a
it's
different
also
mindset.
it's also the mindset. Like nowadays, I'm a lot worse than I was before. Mostly because I don't know the draft pool as well as I did, and I didn't. It's a mindset. It's a completely different mindset. You have to play very differently than when you play ladder. And now that I become competitive, I'm completely away from that mindset, which makes it a bit harder than usual. Usually, which is cool to see that Take Two is still relevant this season. They changed the format a bit. They made it a best out of three, which to me is thank God they made that decision. Unfortunately, the game client is not ready enough for my dream Take Two format, which is allowing side just get those test of strengths out of your deck. Just giving us that option. I would thank you very much, Side Games, if you could just give us 35 draft or 36, and then allow us to take 6 away.
That'd be neat.
That'd be a pretty good change, I think. Or it'd be nice. It'd be interesting to play with.
So
I'm looking at my current Take Two deck I have drafted. It's actually just a constructed Holy Lion deck for Haven.
And that's
Deck.
an easy one to draft, actually. I found it very easy to draft lion cards,
yeah,
which is
because
funny.
they're all bronzes and silvers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. I
So
remember the one game I played with this. It was just like slamming lions every turn, and they couldn't do anything. It's pretty good.
over the weekend we had PAX, and unfortunately you two weren't able to go. But I went to PAX and I got to spend a lot of time at the Side Games booth, so I want to like show off all the cool stuff that I got while I was there. So I got like some of these cards. I got like 2 Yggdrasils, 2 Celias,
Wow.
a Ceridwen, and a Lindworm. I also got this Bellringer Angel pin. It's pretty cool.
Gotta get my stuff ready
That's the
too
real.
when you
That's the
show
real
it.
loot.
And these are some of the cooler things that I think I got while I was there. I got this picture of White Wolf. It's like, I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Yeah, it's a picture of White Wolf
Yeah.
and it's signed by the artist, which is
Oh.
really cool.
Wow.
I got that for going dressed up as Gruff Mountaineering Captain, which was really nice.
You also got a card of yourself, right?
Yeah,
They were
where did
talking
I put that? I have that somewhere else. I'm not sure where that is. I didn't get that to the side. But I do have this. They had like exhibition matches going on, and you
Wow.
could play in them. And the winner of it got this nice Dark Angel Olivia playmat. They had one for each day, so I got one of them.
I missed that card.
And then they had.
Dude,
I haven't opened this one up yet.
we gotta play a Shadowverse game, physical Shadowverse game on those ones, dude. We already know the systems because we play on Cockatrice, so we just need the physical cards. That
You
would be
mean
insane.
you mean
Those
these
things look
physical
really
cards?
nice.
Yeah, those physical cards. Unfortunately, there's not every physical card that's printed, just the legendaries. But we
Yeah.
could find a way to print them and play a
You could
Shadowverse
honestly
physical game.
just print them out on
Sleeves,
normal paper and cut them out.
sleeves too, yeah.
And then the last thing that I got while I was there
Getting
was
ready
it
too.
was
Wait,
this fidget
we're
spinner.
brothers now. We're brothers now.
And the fidget spinner says Shadowverse when you spin it. So I think that's pretty awesome.
I don't have one.
And then
I can spin this card.
I also have, for all you lovely people in Twitch chat, I have this little like piece of paper, and it's got a code on the back of it. It's got sun and moon on the front of it. It's got a code on the back of it. And I'm going to give this away to you guys. Just hit that follow button and say, I want a free pack, and somebody will win a free pack. Just say it in
packs.
Twitch chat.
So I was saving some questions
Mhm.
this show, so we can share with them. how was it like to crush plebs at the game?
How is it like to crush plebs at the game? It was.
I'm
I
just
wouldn't
kidding.
say I did that. It was fun though. It was fun to meet like all the cool people who play Shadowverse.
How
Like
many people were there?
at the in general, PAX is like
But,
packed.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, no, competing in the Shadowverse thing.
in the exhibition matches, there were only 4 people who were allowed to play in it at a time.
Oh,
So they were
oh, at a
pretty small.
time.
Yeah, they were pretty
And so
small.
you won out of your group of 4, or
No, it was so each day they had one exhibition match. So I won the one day that I got to go and play.
oh,
But
I
was
see.
there like a queue
It was just
to
whoever was
play on
there
the
who
exhibition?
wanted to play in it, like first come first serve kind of thing.
Do you? I've always been curious about like the distribution of like players for Shadowverse, like in terms of rank. Like I
Hmm.
know that rank doesn't really mean much below master because there's like master, which is like where the real climb starts, and then there's before master, which is pretty much learning the game.
Hmm.
But I every friend I have IRL who plays Shadowverse is A rank,
Hmm.
and it seems like a lot of people that I find that play this game out in the wild um, aren't master, and it's weird because everyone almost everyone you interact with online who plays
Yeah,
Shadowverse is
yeah.
master.
Yeah, I
And
think
like lather is full. Like you face a single. Like everyone is different. Every single game you play is against someone different, right? So it's like
Yeah, it's
I think
50,
in that
70,000.
bracket that I played in, I think I was the only master player, and so I was playing against like a bunch of rank A players and rank AA players, and I'm just a grandmaster, just like playing against them all.
Just chilling. It's like
but to be fair, if there's a game where it's fun to play against low ranks, is a card game
Hmm.
because you can be surprised. It's not mechanically very demanding. It's more about having knowledge, and the decks were pre-made, right? You
There,
didn't build your own decks, so your advantage just gets lost there as well because you're
hmm
yeah.
not building your deck.
yeah, I was playing
Play
against Shadow, and I was playing Forest, and one of the things that really helps that matchup out is if you have Wood of Brambles or Cassiopeia in your deck. My deck had neither of those.
yeah.
Was was your games being shown anywhere? Like people that were at the booth could see your games or
Yeah,
casted
people at the booth
games?
can go see, and they were casted, but I don't think they were streamed anywhere, so I don't think you can actually watch the games.
Might be worth asking if there's a VOD somewhere or they could post one. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'd watch.
What about cosplay related? Did you get people take pictures with you? Did you was there a contest for cosplay?
Yeah, if you went cosplaying as somebody like I showed you earlier, you got this like this White Wolf, and you get a couple other things for doing that, some boosts, some packs and stuff. But there wasn't actually a contest, but they did stream the cosplayers there every day.
What about what about PAX in general? Was it like packed? Was there a lot of people in PAX? Was it
Yeah,
like anything exciting that people just were swarming?
I ended up spending almost all my time at PAX at the Games booth and waiting online for my burrito. But I mean, it was cool. It's incredible how many people there were there. It was just like incredible how big the place was, honestly.
Yeah, those things are always super big, and I've always wanted to go to one of those huge conventions like PAX or what is the other Comic Con and stuff.
Me too, man. We don't have those here, so it's like you
Yeah.
have to travel to get.
Well, the
I
ones
think
they
you're in
do
the same
have in
position,
Europe.
right? I think you're in the same position, right? Do you have conventions in
Uh,
Texas?
well, I'm like an hour and a half from Houston, where I am, which is the fourth biggest city in America. Um, so there's things to do here. There's conventions and stuff, but none of them, for some reason, none of the really, really big ones are in Houston. Like PAX South is usually in Austin, which is the center of the state, and that's like 6 hours from me. Um, which is still, I can go to that if I wanted to. um, yeah, all that stuff in Texas tends to happen in Austin, which is in the center of the state, which is why it happens in Austin. And then but none of those are even as big as the ones that happen in California or in New York. or in like Vancouver or Toronto, those places.
All right. So I got one final question for you guys before we sign off for today. And that final question is: out of all the cards you have played with so far in Dawnbreak Night Edge, which is your favorite one?
You can go first, Taka.
Vania. Every mode, every line, every effect. Now sleeves. Vania. Even Saigen's recognized that she's a good wife.
Mm-hmm. She knows all the people love her. They know all the people love her.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
And what about you, Kaishi? Favorite card?
Well, it's a tough choice.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be your actual favorite card. I know that's a kind of hard question. Ooh,
Oh,
look at that.
I
You got it
beautiful one, beautiful one.
I
animated
gotta
and
go with
everything.
this. I gotta go. It's not animated. It's just a normal one.
That's
I
what you
gotta go
think.
with the Serenian Hind though. I love this card. It just does everything that Haven wants to do meta wise right now. It's it's clear. It's a rush follower for clear when you need that. It's amulet reduction, countdown reduction when you need that. It pops encomium for spot clear.
It's card
It
draw too
pops
when you need it.
your it's
Yeah.
card draw. It's a really good pull off of Aether because it's a lot of health. It's just a good tempo play. I really like the card.
It's like the first time they got Skullfane to work. I feel like since they nerfed it.
It's like a It's like a mini Garuda that comes earlier but has more resilience to it.
Yeah. And this card hasn't seen too much play yet, but I'm gonna say my favorite card is still Yggdrasil. I hope that card ends up getting there. I find that card cool.
I tried, man. I made it close. I almost got a good finisher with an Yggdrasil deck. Might see that eventually.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hopeful. Well, let's call this one a night. This was a good stream, guys. I enjoyed this. And we're actually going to be taking a break. We're not going to have a stream next week. We're going to be figuring out some stuff internally within Shadowcast. What do we want to do? And we want to make the show better for you guys. So if you have any suggestions, let us know also, and we'll take those into consideration. We definitely want to have this be a better production for you guys.
Expect a lot of surprises. Expect a good revamp of the show. We again take suggestions and we're gonna work on it for a week. And I think that it's gonna be more spicy. You're gonna like it, I think.
All right. Have a good week, everyone. Have a good 2 weeks. Bye.
And there's also don't forget the team league. Don't forget the team league.
Oh, yep.
Team
Get
League.
with your friends and yep, Friday team league. Go join.
Yeah, and I'll post that in the description. If you guys like the show, don't forget to hit the follow button. All that jazz. Bye.